guys, this person predicted probably one of the bigger events and reveals, being the Springtrap, the animatronic that we go up against in FNAF 3, is connected to Purple Man because, he's possessed by William Afton. So, pretty short, but very, very accurate prediction. And what's interesting here, too, is that there's a lot of Bonnie favoritism throughout a lot of these earlier games. Maybe not so much after Steel Wool took over, but one of the reasons for that, I think, this is my own little game theory here, is that Scott Cawthon really liked Bonnie. One of those FNAF trivia facts is that the game dev Scott Cawthon thought that Bonnie was the scariest one, and apparently would have these nightmares over Bonnie. Not only that, but Bonnie's the first one to go after you in the FNAF game. Springtrap is just a really worn down, rotted design of Spring Bonnie. That's the same animatronic, just aged and now possessed. I don't even know what Shadow Bonnie is about. There's so many theories and possible stories that can be involved with Shadow Bonnie. But Bonnie does get a lot of love throughout the games. And I always thought, while that was cool, it didn't really give a lot of spotlight for, Freddy from Freddy. I think it's pretty funny that even though the main game title is Freddy, other than maybe like Freddy, there's nothing particularly special about Freddy, other than being the main one. But bear with me. I think as every night goes on, they add a zombie animatronic. We've discovered that I think they slowly but there is something similar to the Phantom animatronic, something that seems supposed to be more just hallucinations or not the animatronics, but more so just a lot of different predictions for the Phantom. So that's pretty close, but there were a lot of people that turned out like this comment about thinking something brewing. Forget this thread. We've seen this guy before, this golden body. We saw him in FNAF 2. Well, some of us did. It was a rare screen when we saw it endoskeleton come out of the box at the prize point. Now, the obvious theory is, well, the killer stuffed the endoskeleton in the box so we could use the animatronic. I say, no. I say the endoskeleton is, this is one of the deadliest objects. We're dealing with whatever the case of predicted the Mimic in a little bit of a way, just that, this endoskeleton thing puts on other suits and whatnot. I think it's pretty interesting. While they do say that the endoskeleton can use up to 10% more health than its basic version, I think that's very cool and very interesting. Really close to who's going to get used out for PvP. I don't necessarily think that means the Mimic is finished at the beginning, at least not in the knowledge of the game yet. But, it's FNAF lore. It's always going to be frustrating. But I think other than